Hello. Welcome to day 1 of the 7-day journey. My name is Denise Silva. I am a certified spiritual trauma transformational coach, and I am delighted for you to be here. I am excited and looking forward to hear how God speaks to you on this day. I do apologize in advance if you guys hear any cars or people in the background. I do live in a busy road, so once again, I apologize. But let's begin with day 1. And today's chapter is When Anxiety Barges In. God sees what you carry, even the struggles you hide. And we'll start with a testimony. I was sitting on my living room sofa, staring at the floor, mind racing and heart pounding. I shifted my eyes to the window, watching the outside world move while I sat frozen. I didn't know what to think. My mind couldn't process anything. My thoughts were cluttered and drowned by bills and debt. I kept replaying every debt, every bill, every deadline like a loop I couldn't escape. I knew the only way to calm my mind was to finally open my banking app, knowing I would have to face what I already feared. Double digits stared back at me while a triple-digit bill hovered over my head like an annoying fly buzzing around. Before I could even catch my breath, anxiety barged in, loud, familiar, and completely uninvited. You'd think I'd be numb to it by now after facing the same financial battles for almost a year, but somehow it never hurt any less. That day was no different. A credit card payment was due in just a few days, and half of my paycheck had already disappeared to cover a different bill earlier that week. But every time I stared at my account, my hands would start sweating, my heart would race, and my body would tremble. My blood pressure surged every time I opened my banking app. It felt like I was anticipating a jump scare, something terrible to happen that would bring me down and worsen my situation more than the damage I had already caused. Sure, I could have made the minimum payment with my next check, but what about the groceries? What about the rent? The little amount of money I had made me feel like such a failure as a person and as a mom. And just as anxiety loved to barge in, so did shame. Oh, how easy it was for shame to flood my mind with intrusive thoughts, always creeping in like a dark wave crashing over me, saying, "Here come the credit card calls again. Your credit card score is going to drop even more. Forget buying a house one day. How are you ever going to provide for your son like this?" These thoughts weren't just loud, they were bullies. They showed up every single day on top of all the pressure I had already been facing. I was exhausted. Being a single mom meant I had to smile when I wanted to cry, plan when I had nothing left to give, and carry the weight of everything without falling apart. But I was falling apart. And to make things matters worse, I kept checking my account over and over again. Not because I was expecting a check to come in, but out of fear, out of habit, and out of trauma. I was a victim of fraud once before, and I couldn't afford to lose another dollar, so I would check just to be sure. Even if I already knew what I'd find, and the money was there, I still wasn't at peace. I'd take a deep breath, loosen my shoulders, and tell myself to calm down, only to feel the storm stir again minutes later. It was a cycle I couldn't seem to escape, so much so that my health began to decline under the weight of it all. My body was tired, my mind was foggy, even my physical strength began to fade. I couldn't sleep from all the racing thoughts. I couldn't eat, and when I did, the anxiety would still cause me to lose weight. My skin broke out from hormonal acne because of the stress and anxiety, and whenever I looked in the mirror, I didn't see myself anymore. Instead, I saw a broken, tired, worried, and lost Denise. Seeing my reflection shook my confidence, and instead of comforting myself, I would blame myself, saying, "How could you let this happen, Denise? How did you get here?" All I wanted was to run away, crawl under the covers, and disappear, and blame myself over and over again. Now, the biblical reflection. Have you heard of the miracles and wonders God did for the Israelites when He brought them out of bondage and slavery from Egypt? I have always wondered what emotions and thoughts the children of Israel had as they saw the miracles unfold before their eyes, especially Moses, the one who was chosen to lead them by trusting and obeying God's voice. How incredible it must have been to witness Egypt being destroyed while they remained untouched in Goshen, protected from the 10 plagues. And let's not forget how God made a way through the Red Sea, allowing them to allowing them to cross into the wilderness of Shur. Once his people crossed safely and the Pharaoh and his army pursuing them, God caused the parted waters to collapse, drowning their enemies and ending the pursuit. To be honest, I would have been amazed and frightened at the same time. Not too long ago, I desperately wanted God to remove all of my debt with the snap of his finger. I remember pacing back and forth in my living room after checking my bank account. I immediately prayed, asking God to remove every struggle that triggered stress, anxiety, and heaviness in my heart. I prayed saying, "You are powerful, God. You can make anything happen at any time. With one snap of your finger, you can erase my debt and restore my health. Please, oh please, Lord, take it all away." It might have been a foolish request, but at the time, I didn't have that mental capacity to create a plan. I needed a way out, immediately. I thought the only way to feel peace and joy was to be completely free from debt. But as the same struggles continued, my frustration and impatience grew towards God. Every time I cried out to him, he would gently say, "Be still." Eventually, I reached a breaking point and cried, "How am I supposed to stay still when the bills are in my face? My mind is flooded and overwhelmed by the responsibilities surrounding me. Everyone else seems to be moving forward, and I'm mentally drowning. What does being still even mean? Am I supposed to just sit and wait for something to happen?" Yes, God's mercy is wonderful. Even though I kept asking him to take away the pain, he began to show me the only way through it was through it. But before I could walk that journey, he had to teach me what it truly meant when he said, "Everything will be okay." Now, for the spiritual takeaway. The same God who parted the Red Sea for the Israelites is the same God who is moving in your life right now. His miracles are not limited to ancient history, and his power is not diminished by the passage of time. Just as the Israelites stood in awe, protected in Goshen while Egypt was struck with plagues, you are also under his covering, even in the middle of overwhelming circumstances. The struggles you see today may feel like towering waters on either side of you, but God is still the one who makes a way where there seems to be no way. The challenge for us is to believe that his timing, his way, and his plan are still perfect, even when the deliverance doesn't happen in the way we expect. So if you are standing in the middle of your own Red Sea moment, struck between what hurts and what's ahead, know this: being still is not passive. It's not doing nothing. It's surrender. It's a choice to rest in God's authority even when you cannot yet see the outcome. He's not ignoring you. He's aligning you. Sometimes God's greatest work in our lives isn't the immediate removal of our struggle, but the transformation he does within us as we walk through them. And the verses for today is Exodus chapter 3, verse 7, Exodus 8, verse 22 and 23, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, and Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. And the questions for today is, what burden is weighing on your chest today, and how has it been affecting your thoughts, emotions, or even your body? Question 2, what does anxiety sound and look like in your current season, in your words, your routines, or the way you view yourself? And question 3, in what miraculous ways do you want God to show up in your life, and how would experiencing that change the way you see him working in your story? And today's closing prayer is, Dear Lord, you see what no one else sees. You know the pressure I carry and the thoughts that crash into my peace. I've been overwhelmed, anxious, and afraid, and it feels like I'm carrying the weight of the world alone. My heart is tired, and my body is weary. My mind won't stop racing, and sometimes I don't even know what to pray for. But right here, in the middle of the mess, I invite you in, even into the parts I've tried to hide. I need your peace to cover me. I need your strength to carry me. Remind me today that I am not alone. You are with me. You see me, and you're not done working. I cast all my cares on you, trusting that you care deeply for me. In Jesus' mighty name I pray, amen. Thank you guys so much for joining for day 1. I'll leave the verses, the questions, and the prayer in the description below. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.